verb "skosafaba," meaning to enforce purity in a political party, might be giving birth to another new word. Our third story tonight, the skosafaba blowback against Sarah Palin and some amazing revelations about the loss that Republicans suffered in New York last week. The Washington Post reports that skosafaba's endorsement of her former rival, the Democrat Bill Owens, was the result of an orchestrated campaign. The White House cooperating with the state party to court Ms. Skosafaba. After Sarah Palin helped hound her out of the race, Owens called her. He didn't ask for an endorsement, Skosafaba says. He just said, "I hope you're doing okay." Doug Hoffman, the family values candidate, had neither the values nor the smarts to offer his condolences nor seek her endorsement. Skosafaba tells the Post Hoffman, quote, "had no integrity," a sentiment that had been shared by the National Republican Congressional Committee until it endorsed him. Looking at fellow Republican Florida Governor Charlie Crist's campaign for Senate next year up against a Doug Hoffman of his own, Marco Rubio, who just won the endorsement of the right-wing Club for Growth, which also launched Hoffman on his path to obscurity. To them, Skosafaba had this warning: there is a lot of us who consider ourselves Republicans of the party of Lincoln. If they don't want us with them, we're going to work against them. And we'll infer the definition of Palin to Palin, as in Republicans got Palined out of a congressional seat when they bought into a know-nothing outsider. From what Ms. Skosafaba had to say about her, how can Sarah Palin come out and endorse someone who can't answer some basic questions? Do these people even know who they are endorsing? Let's bring in MSNBC political analyst Eugene Robinson, also an associate editor and Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist at the Washington Post. Gene, good evening.
Evening, Keith.
The national GOP lost. They had a candidate who did not know national issues. Then they lost with a local candidate in New York who did not know local issues. If the GOP keeps Skosafabing themselves, won't they end up totally Palined?
Well, actually, I think they're impaling themselves, Keith, and they're look. This is a great way to make a really small party. You know, on Wall Street, how you make a small fortune start with a big fortune. Well, how do you make a small party start with a big party? And you kick out everybody who's pro-choice. You kick out everybody who's pro-gay rights, which means I guess you have to kick out Dick Cheney. This quest for ideological purity can only take the party in one direction, and that's smaller and smaller and smaller. It seems totally insane to me.
But in terms of the blowback here, when Ms. Skosafaba says we're going to work against them, who's the we? Who's left? Who is the apocryphal line, who's this we, King Musabi? Is anyone left to fight that fight?
I think they're having secret rendezvous at Rick's Cafe in Casablanca and planning the resistance. There are moderate Republicans, or at least former moderate Republicans, who are looking for a home. I hear from a lot of people who say this isn't the Republican Party that I belong to for 20 or 30 or however many years, and I want it back. But is it organized right now? Does it have the momentum? Does that faction have the momentum? No, they don't. The Palinite putsch or purge or whatever you want to call it is rampant at the moment.
Yeah, but is this not the snake eating its own tail? Because we started with social conservatives who were tired of being exploited by rich tax cutters, and now the Paliners are embracing candidates endorsed by Dick Armey and the Club for Growth. It seems like they have revolted against themselves.
It does seem that way, and once again, if you kind of play this out, the social conservatives once again will be disappointed. They're going to get fooled again, I think, and not get their issues really carried forward in the way that they want, and then they'll, I guess, look elsewhere. But in the meantime, they're with Sarah.
And, all right, about how much is about her? Because the other day, Mike Huckabee took a fairly veiled, polite swipe at her, but it was a swipe, and it read, "Some of the people who had excoriated me and really been very dismissive of me for views that I had taken and labeled me anything from a populist to an ignoramus, the same people have been very defensive of and laudatory to Sarah Palin. I'm glad she's getting the props. I know I'm not nearly as attractive. Ha, 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 ha." Is there actually Sarah Palin blowback inside the GOP, or is it limited to Mike Huckabee and Didi Skosafaba?
Well, no, it's certainly not limited to just them. Anybody who, number one, wants to run for president is not going to be falling in line. And look, Mike Huckabee is a social conservative. He has been. He's been known as a social conservative, a leading one for many years, and it's got to rankle him that all of a sudden the expert on social conservatism is the almost one-term governor of Alaska, and he's been at this for considerably longer, with a lot of skill and some tact. So no, this is just beginning, and it's going to be not just a battle of issues, but a battle of personalities as well, and it's going to get ugly.
Now, don't forget, she's also an expert on the history of minting of dollar coins. Jean Robinson, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist of the Washington Post. Drop that in the next time you write about her. Great, thanks, Gene.
Good to talk to you, Keith.